Hola guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Roxanne. If it's your first time here, then welcome. Today I want to talk to you guys about the next 5 books that I read this year. Actually, I might talk about 6 because one is a series, so I might just lump the 2 together and talk to you about those. So the first that I want to talk to you is actually the 2 that I'm lumping together, and that is Murder at the Bright Well and Death Wears a Mask by Ashley Weaver, and these are the first and second book in the Amory Ames series, mystery series, and they are both delightful to read. They're just so fun and entertaining. It's very relaxing. They're, at least the bookstores that I got these in didn't really consider them as cozy murder mysteries, but I really think they really did make me feel very kind of cozy and just like it was a really fun kind of no-brainer read that I could breeze through and just have a really great time with it. I love the characters. Amory Ames is really just a delightful character. She's really fun, she's really funny, really sassy. Sometimes I do feel like I want to strangle her because I feel like she doesn't realize things as fast as I want her to realize them. But overall, I think they're really great. Their mysteries are fun. They're not overly complicated or anything like that. Like, these are just really fun, awesome reads that I definitely recommend. So that's the first and the second, and I did already buy the third book because I love these. I love the first one so much and I read it so quickly that I went to the bookstore and I got the second and the third book immediately. And so I can't wait to get to the third book. Then I read this one summer. Mariko Tamaki is the writer and Jillian Tamaki is the illustrator. And it is all in this kind of monochromatic purple blue hues, and I love this. This is really about just one summer. It's a young girl whose family's kind of going through some things. Her parents are, but they go every year to the summer, and she has this one friend that she always meets there, and they just have a really great time. And it's a very quiet, beautiful story about one summer. It captures girlhood really, really well, and friendship really, really well, and it just feels like summer. And I really, really loved it. I think it was greatly told. If you like things that have a very definite ending and answer all of your questions, this isn't it. If you're looking for something that is very plot based, this isn't it. This is very character based. It's about one particular summer and this girl and this family and this friendship in one summer, and it's about the difficulties that her mom is dealing with, and the difficulties that her parents together are dealing with, and how she deals with their difficulties, and how she's seeing all of this unravel. Things like having your first crush and what that means to talk to your friends about, and it's just really fun. I saw one of the comments that said I was looking for the plot. There really isn't one. That's not the kind of book that it is, and it's really not the kind of book that I'm always in the mood for, so this is just perfect. It is it's a longer graphic novel, but I think it goes by really quickly, and I was left wanting to kind of stay in this world with these 2 characters because they were just very endearing, and I really grew to care for them, especially her friend Wendy, who is just super fun and hilarious, and it just reminded me of how I was when I was a young girl. She just loves soda and dancing and swimming, and I mean, that's me. Then I read Green River Running Red by Anne Rule, that I know I have somewhere. I just cannot for the life of me find it anywhere on my bookshelves, so I don't know what I did with it. But this is the second book by Anne Rule that I've read. The first one that I read by her was Stranger Beside Me, which is the Ted Bundy book that she wrote. This one didn't feel as gripping as Stranger Beside Me, but I think that might just be due to the fact that it was so personal for her to talk about Ted Bundy and his life and his story, because she considered him to be a friend. They were co-workers, co-volunteers, I guess, at this crisis, at this victims center where people would call and they would help people talk through issues and things like that. So this one felt a little bit more distance, but only because she wasn't as personally involved, though this one was still very personal to her because it took place in an area where she lived. the Green River Killer was present at a lot of her book talks or her seminars that she gave and classes that she taught. So even though she didn't know him personally, their lives did cross. So that is still present, and that was very interesting to read about, but it still wasn't as personal as the Ted Bundy one for obvious reasons. I loved how much attention she paid to the victims in this case. I didn't think that she did that as much in the Ted Bundy book, but she really did as much as she could, because there was just so many victims with the Green River Killer. I think there was something over a suspected like over 50 victims. So the book was very long, and she still managed to really talk about them, some of them much more in detail than others. Their pictures were everywhere. So it felt like you got to learn a little bit more about them, which was great. I love also the way that she structured this book. You get alternating chapters between her telling the story of the investigation and all of the crimes as they're happening, and where she might have played a role in the investigation, and then a few chapters in, or maybe another part would be from the Green River's perspective, but he's never named or anything like that. It kind of becomes like third person omniscient, which was an interesting change in narration style from part to part, but I think it kind of worked because you slowly start to get a feel for who this man is, who this like monster is, and you get to learn about his. That's how she's able to introduce you to his backstory, what his family was like, his different wives, things like that. So I really enjoyed it still, and I definitely recommend it. Then I read the Geek, Feminist Revolution by Cameron Hurley. She is a fantasy writer and a blogger, very active in the internet and in writing pretty much all her life, and it is a very interesting take on a side of feminist thought. I started to read this because, or listen to it on audiobook after the review given to it by Sylvia. I will link her channel and her review down below. I think it was a very fun, informative kind of. It was a good read. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the content creation side of things. As a content creator myself, I found that I was able to relate to a lot of things, even though mine is more video based, whereas hers was more writing. I enjoyed how she spoke on how writers can really write whatever they want. They just have to be, they have to take responsibility for it, and that means the repercussions of it, how people react to it, things like that. I enjoyed that she talked about her perspective as someone who's overweight, or who's dealt with a lot of weight issues, who has chronic illness, who has had very problematic relationships, all of that. She was able to weave through her narrative really well, and I enjoyed that side of it. I could definitely tell that she was trying to be as intersectional as she could. So I think she succeeded sometimes more than others. And yeah, overall I enjoyed it, and I recommend it if you're a content creator and you have the ability to get this on audiobook. I definitely recommend it if you want to pick it up. And then last but not least, probably tied with this one summer as the most endearing read of this bunch, is A Dash of Trouble, which is book 1 in the Love, Sugar, Magic series by Anna Mariano. And this book was awesome. It was so cute. I loved it. It's a middle grade Latinx story about this young girl, Leonora, who notices, it's around the time of Dia de los Muertos, and she notices that something strange is going on with her mom, who owns a bakery, and her sisters who help her at the bakery. They're being very secretive. They're not really including her in the preparations for Dia de los Muertos, and she gets very curious, and in sneaking around she finds out that her family, the women in her family, have magical abilities, and they manifest through cooking. So they're like cooking brujas, which is super cute and super sweet. I love this. Leonora was so cute to read about. I love the relationship that she has with her sisters, although not always the easiest. I love all the awesome female characters in this book. I love the friendship that she has with her best friend. I love the family dynamic that was present. I think the culture just kind of seeped through the pages and it was awesome. I think this was a super adorable, super cute read, and I definitely recommend it. I recommend it if you're looking for a Latinx read, if you're looking for a middle grade read, if you're looking for something to maybe read during the fall. I think this would be great for all of those. It was super sweet. I loved it very, very much. So those are the books that I have been reading lately. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought. Let me know what you've been reading lately. As always, thank you for watching and for listening. I love you guys.